Welcome to the second half of What's Up San Mateo. I am Luis Palacios, and today I will introduce you to a person that is doing a very important job for our community. She is Jill Downson, the InVision Shelter Network Program Director, and she is here to talk about poverty and homelessness in San Mateo. Welcome, Jill. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Of course. So I originally am from the Midwest, and I went to school. I got my bachelor's at Illinois State University in social services, and then I got a master's in social work from the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana.
Wow, impressive.
Thank you.
Can you tell me where the shelter is located?
Of course. So InVision Shelter Network has a variety of different programs. We have 18 programs that span all the way from Daly City to San Jose. The shelter that I work with directly is called Haven Family House, and it's located in Menlo Park.
And what is your position at the shelter?
So I am the program director for Haven Family House. I'm in charge of the staff who do direct services, clinical services with the homeless families.
Nice. And for how long time have you been working with the InVision Shelter?
So I've been with InVision Shelter Network since 2007, so coming up on 7 years.
Nice. My first question is, why do people become homeless?
So there can be a variety of different reasons why a family or an individual could find themselves on the streets or becoming homeless. In recent times with the economy, we've seen a lot more first-time homeless families. So those who are living from paycheck to paycheck maybe get sick or lose a job or decrease in hours, then they don't have enough money to pay their rent.
How many people or families are homeless in San Mateo County?
So on a given night, we have a waiting list to get into our programs, and on a given night, there could be up to 55 families in San Mateo County who are homeless and in need of shelter. But it does range. Yeah.
What are the impacts of the homeless in children?
So it is obviously, one could imagine, it's very traumatizing for a child to become homeless, especially since children do thrive on stability. So a lot of times what we'll see is we can see, some trauma, we can see a little bit of maybe behavior problems or problems focusing in school, just a very different varieties of especially what else is leading towards the homelessness for the family.
And at the shelter, InVision Shelter, do you receive the whole family or a single person? What is the most common?
So at our shelter, we have in our agency, we have shelters for individuals and we have shelters for families. So our shelter is a shelter for a family. So we are a 23 interim housing facility. So we have 23 families. To be referred to our shelter, you have to have a minor child. So we can have mom, dad, and children. We could have a multi-generational family that includes grandma, dad, and child, as long as there's a minor child. That's the way that people get referred to our program. If you're an individual living on the street by yourself and you do not have minor children, we have other programs in San Mateo County that we refer you to.
In what type of programs, when a family gets into InVision Shelter, what are the programs that you offer to them or the help? Mainly trainings?
Yeah, so we have a variety of different services that once someone comes into our shelter, they can utilize. We call this practice beyond the bed. So we want to provide more than just a place to sleep and maybe a warm meal. We want to provide the social services and the education experience so that way families can take that time that they have in our program and find a place to live, work with an employment specialist to find a better job or maybe a job, as well as parenting advice, health advice, referrals for mental health. It really varies. So when someone comes in, we do what we call like a psychosocial assessment or a case plan with that family, and we work with them on what goals do you want to focus on while you're here. And so from there, we're able to either provide them with specialists within our agency. For example, we have a mental health internship program where we can provide free counseling for individuals and families, or we can refer out. So if there's another agency within the community we have a collaboration with, we'll refer there.
And what is the goal of InVision Shelter?
So InVision Shelter Network's primary goal is to really help people return to self-sufficiency and stable housing. So we want to help those people who are currently homeless have to never go through that situation again. So we give them the tools and the time, basically, to get back on their feet.
And what are the challenges that people face when they get off, InVision Shelter after you guys are done with the projects? What are the challenges for them outside?
That's a great question. There could be a variety of different things, right? So maybe while in shelter, they were able to get stabilized. And part of our program is instead of paying any program fee while you're there, you put 50% of your income into our savings plan. So then when you leave, you get that savings. And so you can take that and pay a security deposit or have a safety net. However, with a lot of our clients, if they still, even with that safety net, could be living paycheck to paycheck, depending on the housing they can find. We really try and help people find housing within their budget. But as you and probably all of our viewers know, we live in a very expensive area.
That's right.
And so it is difficult. A lot of people are paying over 50% of their income to find housing. So that could be something that maybe the cost of living in the area is hard, competition to maintain jobs, or competition to get a better job. A lot of our families may need to pursue additional education experience, things like that. So sometimes that can hold people up, but we do have a very good success rate of helping people go through the program and stay housed.
Do you have any histories where families come back again to the shelter? Once you are done with your projects and then they couldn't succeed and then they come back to you?
Well, we definitely have some, right? Because, just with this economy alone, you can see how someone who is never been in this situation before could fall into a situation where they become homeless. So those who go through our program, they may be very stable for 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, but if another crisis comes up, someone gets sick, maybe they're still living paycheck to paycheck because of cost of living, they could go through our shelter programs again. Yeah.
Can you tell us if you have anyone special that, after being at InVision Shelter and get outside, succeed? Do you remember? Do you keep contact with them?
Yeah, well, the nice thing for us is that when people graduate from our program, 80% are looking for, at least at Haven Family House, are finding permanent housing, right? So that's a great success. We've worked with veterans who bring their families into the program, and they go through, the skills training and the assistance in finding someplace stable, and then they are in the community as regular taxpayers, just like you and I. So I can't think of one specific story. I could, if you'd like.
I know many people.
Right. But the greatest thing for us is when a family runs into their case manager's office and says, I found an apartment, and they show us the lease, and we all celebrate and clap, or they do the same thing when they get a job. Like, here's my name tag, or here's, my pass to get into work. And so it's those steps that our clients are able to make with our support that really mean a lot.
Do you think when homeless are on the red lights asking for money, do you think it's a good idea to support them, give them money, or is it better to tell them where they can get help, like InVision Shelter?
So anyone who is in need of help, there's a really easy way, whether you're in San Mateo County or Santa Clara County, you can dial 211, which is the United Way's informational phone call system. And so from there, they will talk to someone on the phone, and that person will determine what service they need. And a lot of times that's how we get our referrals, through either 211 or local core community center agencies. Personally, I really feel like it's a personal choice for individuals if they'd like to give money to someone who is homeless. But I always think, too, that it's a great alternative, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, to give what we call giving inside. So give to local agencies such as InVision Shelter Network, where we can take that dollar that you may give someone and stretch it as far as possible to make sure people are getting shelter and services.
And this question is about the community. Like, has locals, are we doing really something to help homeless people? I mean, places like InVision Shelter, do you receive help from the community or government?
So much help for the community. I mean, we have a variety of different amazing donors, amazing volunteers who dedicate their time to come into our shelter and work one-on-one with our clients. They hold self-sufficiency workshops. They come and they help us clean the center and stage the units. I mean, we just could not do the work that we do without this community. So yeah, San Mateo County and Santa Clara County both do an amazing job of supporting agencies like InVision Shelter Network.
Is InVision Shelter doing activities to recount money to support the shelter, or do you just receive help from government?
So how our agency is funded, it's 60% funded with federal grants and money from different levels of the government. So federal, state, city, county. But 40%, surprisingly enough, comes from donations and our development department going out and reaching out to organizations and private individuals in the community and asking for assistance. So even though it's a little bit more public money, a lot of it is private, and we are very, very grateful for all that support.
Thank you, Jill, for being with us today and giving us your time. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you for watching What's Up San Mateo. I am Luis Palacios, and remember, home is where you go when you run out of homes. See you next time.